Hi, I'm Dr. Boyce Watkins, and welcome to Financial Lovemaking. This is where we talk about love, life, money, and everything in between. I'm here with my buddy, partner, and co-host, the entertainment director at Ebony Magazine, Miss S. Tia Brown. How you doing today, Tia?
I'm doing great and kind of in a gossipy mood today. So I'm
Oh
going to tell
Lord.
you something and tell you guys something as well that I read on a website, the YBF, one of my favorite sites, and it was about one of my favorite reality stars, Rich Dollars. Now, if you guys watch Love and Hip Hop New York, oh, I see what voice already has the facial expression. You know about Rich. For the last 3 seasons, he's been on the show. He started out with his storyline centered really about one of his acts, Olivia, who's a pretty big singer in the early 2000s, but her career hasn't been able to really take off the way she hoped. And Rich slowly became the star out of that duo, where Olivia is not even on the show anymore. Now, recently it's been reported that Rich was incarcerated again because he owed back child support. Now, Rich is very much a playboy on the show. He's a music executive. Some women find him very handsome. And, he makes no qualms that he loves to sleep with different types of women. They're saying that he owes $200,000 or more than $200,000 allegedly in back child support. And ladies, he has 10 kids, allegedly. 10 kids. Can you imagine? The first thing I thought about was all of the women watching this show and thinking, oh, I'd love to date a guy who could get me into great parties and we can go out and have steak and I could have his baby. And then what happens next? That's all I can think about. Like, Love and Hip Hop sells you on this whole, dream of living this hip hop life and finding someone special. But the reality is it's really, really challenging to find the guy who is going to be faithful, focused, and responsible in the industry. That's what Love and Hip Hop shows me on that show. And one of the things I really dislike, and I'm a fan of the show, but I dislike this. The guys really celebrate not being faithful and not having I should say, multiple kids in different places. They actually called themselves on the latest episode the Creep Squad. We're really creeps. We have lots of women. We're dating everyone. We get money where we can. Ladies, please take heed. There's no wins in that house. Financially, your heart, everything is a mess. What do you think, boys?
Well, I mean, I agree with you 100%. Here's where guys like Rich Dollaz get off. I mean, he needs to be called Broke Nickels because the dude is busted, disgusted, incarcerated. He ain't going nowhere in life, and he's 43. I ain't never heard a Rich Dollaz song in my life, just so for the record. And I'm a hip hop fan. I'm a big
Well,
fan.
behind the scenes, in all fairness, we don't know, we don't read all of the credits, so we don't know. So I'm not going
He
to
might
say,
maybe he's a producer, maybe he's
right.
and that's all good. Okay, good for Rich Dollars or broke nickels. That's what we're gonna call him. All right, so broke nickels is interesting because it's like, here's the thing. Guys like the guys that roll with the creep squad. Here's how they get over on the ladies. In case you don't know, they get over on the fact that over the last 30 years, 72% of black babies are born without a father in the household. Most of these young women do not have a dad that protects them from the creep squad, that informs them how the creep squad operates, make sure that they receive enough nurturing love, support, and self-esteem so they don't feel like they have to roll with a jackass from the creep squad. So these men get to step in as surrogate fathers, get what they want, and they keep it moving. And so,
And I think that's a really important thing to expound on because where you lose is when you don't have a dad or a loving uncle or any man who is older giving you attention without anything physical attached to it. The first time a man takes you to dinner, the first time a man gives you a compliment or buys you something, you automatically become attached to him thinking he's going to love and protect me. And that's how the creep squad manipulates women. Go ahead.
yeah, he's gonna love and hip hop right in and out of your vagina. And then he's gonna keep it moving. He's gonna hop down the road and disappear. That's what he's gonna do. And here's the thing. It's like just kind of going back to the fatherlessness thing and how this affects so many young women. In such an unfortunate way. You really see guys really preying on that low self esteem. You see them. I remember hearing a guy who was kind of like Rich Dollars or Broke Nickels who had a whole bunch of women. And one of the things that he said was, one guy said, "Man, what's your secret to getting all the ladies and getting them all to have sex with you?" He said this is exactly what he said. I heard this a long time ago and I never forgot it. He said, "Man, it's easy. You just sell a hoe a dream." That's exactly how he said it. I'm not censoring what he's,
And I want to circle back on what you said about low self esteem, because I think a lot of women will listen to this and say, I don't have low self esteem. And the emotional reaction to not having that father figure in your life doesn't always represent in blatant ways of low self-esteem. You might be successful. You might, be a great person and feel happy and have great friendships, but there's something missing and you're yearning something when it comes to that male-female interaction. And that's what they prey on. I'm sorry to interrupt, but go ahead.
No, that's okay. That's okay. So what I would say is that and I didn't mean to use the word the word HOE in that description. I just wanted people to hear it exactly the way you said it, so the people know what's real. They know how some of these guys think, and what here's what I believe. Here's what I believe. And this is the philosophy I take when it comes to dealing with my girls. I believe that every young woman deserves to have at least one man in her life who cares about her and will do things for her and be there for her without wanting to have sex with her in exchange. And that's so what's unfortunate is that when girls don't get a chance to have that, they meet these guys along the way and they're thinking, oh, he's so nice, he's so this, he's so that. And in so many cases, these guys are just saying, okay, you're my next victim, you're my next target, you're my next conquest. And I'm not saying that it's I'm not here to judge whether or not you want to be somebody's conquest. Maybe he's your conquest too. I don't know. I'm not saying that's right or wrong, but what I am here to say is that we got to look at it for what it is. When you see a guy like this, 43 years old, 10 children, cannot afford to pay them, a few things jump out. Number one, the easiest way to go broke for any man, or really woman as well, is to have a lot of kids by a lot of different people. The child support courts will eat you up, and especially for the men, they eat them up. So this guy's going to be in jail. He's never going to catch up on his child support ever, and he's going to be an old man where his kids hate him. And there's a very good chance that when you're having that much sex and having that many children, you're probably not protecting yourself all the time. So you probably got a pile of STDs. So there are health issues that are coming along as well. So just being real, when you hear about some rapper or some guy who's been a playboy and he suddenly mysteriously dies at the age of 35, the alarm bell should go off. These might be chickens coming home to roost. I'm not saying it's true in all cases.
Even worse is, you don't often hear about that person who passes away at 35. What happens is that there are tons of people who have STDs and just don't talk about it. They're living with dis-ease.
There you go.
So let's not celebrate this whole creep squad mentality. When those guys toasted to being the creep squad on the show, I was so appalled, and my friends and I were, hitting each other up on Twitter and text messages saying, like, how can you celebrate sleeping with multiple women, having kids in different households, and lying to these women, telling them all that you love them, you want to be with them, and that's your way of life. And these aren't just young men. So I say to women, be mindful of what you find attractive in men.
Right. Go. You keep talking. I'm sorry.
Listen, sometimes the things that, are flossy aren't fabulous in the big picture.
Well, I had to jump in here. I mean, here's the thing. Let's lay it on the table.
Lay it out.
Women have a natural women, and this isn't just true for humans. I study all the animal kingdom because I like to see what animals do when they don't have the pressure of social norms telling them what to do. What I find is that women naturally have an attraction to strength, which might be signaled by your financial resources, your height, your power, your fame, whatever. Okay, so and even confidence and swag is a sign of strength, which naturally attracts women. So I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with being attracted to these guys who are in this creep squad mentality. The fact is that there are some men who are just not built for commitment. They're not built for monogamy. It's very, very difficult for them. They don't have the ability to delay that gratification. The instincts are just too strong. They're going to keep it moving. What I say to women is not so much that these guys are all bad or that you should always avoid them. You should pursue them if you're interested in pursuing that, but understand what you're getting. You see, understand, like, most rappers ain't got no money. They just pretend to have money. They will borrow and lease and steal and do whatever it takes to show you a facade of financial success, which will hopefully be good enough to get in your pants. And so to me, it's like, okay, if you're giving something up to receive something, you're sleeping with a guy because you think he's paid and he's going to hook you up. Make sure he can at least deliver on the hookup.
So you're telling women, If you're going to go, don't go for the Peter Guns. Go for the Little Wayne because at least you know.
No, 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 not the Little Wayne. Little Wayne, that's a nasty dude too.
My thing is, I don't think there's anything wrong with having fun. And if you are attracted, I'll go with your opinion. If you're attracted to a certain type of guy and you want to date him, then you can date that person. But understand what is in line for you down the road, and don't set unrealistic expectations. That's not the guy that you plan a family with. That is the
Yeah,
guy maybe you go on a few dates with if you're interested.
yeah,
But there's no wins. If someone didn't settle down with baby mama one, two, or three, four or five doesn't have the best odds. So be mindful of that. And
yeah.
I want to also get back to another point that you said, Boyce, about, like kind of like the fatherhood village. We always talk about the village, and we don't always talk about what men can do. If you have young women in your lives, nieces, goddaughters, little cousins, that maybe they don't have their dad in their household, use that as an opportunity to really make a difference in the community by spending a little time with them, getting to know them, perhaps taking them out one-on-one and showing them how a positive male interacts with a woman. Model in your personal relationships how a man should treat a woman, so that way they know what to expect. And that's the real way to create change in the community. Go ahead, boy.
Well, I'm not judging people for what they should want. I mean, you can't get mad at a woman. There's a reason that a Rich Dollaz or a Broke Nichols can get women. He's good looking. Maybe he's got the swag. He's probably a smart guy. Most rappers I know, most good rappers, and I don't even know if he's good because I haven't heard any of his music. But
he's not a rapper. He's like a behind the scenes guy, producer.
oh, okay. Then he's probably smart at something. He's probably successful at something.
He's smart. He went to college. He's a fraternity guy. I totally get it. But my issue is all of these women want to become the woman. If he is not a monogamous kind of dude, don't expect monogamy, and don't do the things you do in a monogamous relationship, which is family building.
And that's what I was. Then that's what I was definitely going toward, is that you stop thinking you can change this guy. I mean, look at his track record and assume that that's who he's going to be for the next 10 years too. Don't look at this track record that's completely different from the person that you need him to be and think that somehow he's miraculously going to switch it off for you, because you're just going to be victim number 287. That's what's going to happen. And here's the thing too. Here's where where we have to really start talking about what hip hop culture, the worst parts of hip hop culture, not the good parts, but where the worst parts of hip hop culture are doing to black sexuality. It's really pushing forward this creep squad mentality. It's making women attracted to men in the creep squad. Right. It's making women desire men in the creep squad. It's making men desire to want to be in the creep squad, because the men are going to go where the women go. Where so if the women are looking at the Rich Dollaz or the Broke Nichols type dudes and saying, I want that, they're going to say, okay, well, what's the point of me being a good, loving husband and father and doting, mate and all these other things when I'm going to just be defined as being weak? Instead, I need to be like Rich Dollaz and go, just do my thing. And so I think that for men, the lesson here, in my opinion, is to look at this. Think about this. Especially if you're some young guy who's 25, 26 and all the women want you, understand this could be you in 18 years. This could be you sitting up in jail, ain't got no money. Your kids think you're deadbeat. The law is chasing you down. Every penny Broke Nichols makes for the rest of his life, the feds are gonna be on it. They're gonna come and take that money.
And I want to just piggyback on this. A good dude isn't always a good father. Just because you have good intentions, being a good father means that you have the financial, emotional, and time to invest in help making a person their best self. If you have kids sprinkled around in many places, it's impossible to really pour into all of them in the way that they need, because each child needs something different. And the biggest commodity that you don't have is time.
I think that's exactly right. I think that, this poor guy, his life is a mess, and I think he knows it. But unfortunately, he's probably so addicted to this lifestyle and this way of thinking that he's probably not going to change all that much. Either way, he's got 10 kids now. So, any woman trying to settle down with him after that, she has to understand she's not going to get a whole man. She's going to get a piece of man, because every time you have a child with another woman, you're leaving a piece of yourself somewhere else. And that piece is always going to keep sucking off of you like a financial leech. It's going to take a little bit of your financial blood. So unless you're talking about some guy with Mark Zuckerberg money, most of these guys can't afford. Most of these guys have more than 4 kids. cannot afford to take care of all of them.
Right, because the average guy, even in the entertainment industry, is not making Diddy's kind of money. So, when you look at someone like Sean Puffy Combs or Diddy, you're like, oh, he has 6 kids, he's has an adopted son, and he's loving and doting, and he's financially invested in all those kids. Well, he's a multimillionaire. He can fly kids in, fly kids out, and do different things that the average guy can't do. And even he doesn't have the time to invest in every kid in every location just because of the fact that he has so many and they're in different places. The average guy doesn't have those resources. The average guy isn't a Will Smith who can fly, from China to LA to see, what was it, like a football game when his oldest son was in high school and he was filming overseas. The average guy can't do that.
I agree. I agree. So, I say to the ladies, look, understand, most of these rappers ain't got no money. And some of them, a few of them do, but a lot of them, the ones who are on these reality shows, they're doing the shows because they can't make any money in music anymore. They haven't had a hit for a while, or, album sales have dropped, because of iTunes, stuff like that. Maybe they're making a little money doing shows, but it's mostly about flash. And I think they're, the smart, discerning woman who's looking for a good man knows how to look past the flash to see, okay, what's the substance? What exactly am I really getting? And then in that case, that's when you learn, like, okay, maybe I can still have what I want. I can still have the guy that has the money and the intelligence and all these other things, but maybe I go after that wealthy attorney or that, investment banker or whatever, as opposed to the rapper. And I'm not advocating or condoning the idea of being a gold digger or chasing money. I'm just saying, if that's what you want, go get it. Just make sure you're going to get what you plan to get. Because broke nickels ain't delivering nothing except broke nickels.
All types of men, all types of people are capable of cheating. You need to make decisions based on the lifestyle you want to have in the future, based on who that person is right now, what you see, not on what you hope. People give reality TV shows a lot of flack, but there are different lessons to take from them depending on the lens that you're using. Some people will look at a show at Love and Hip Hop and they think that they're glorifying a lifestyle. I look at it and I see that it shows a lot of the loses, the losts, a lot of the losts, and how people lose in these situations. So, I'd love to hear what you guys think. Is it okay to be part of the creep squad?
No, it's not. All right, bye-bye.